Hello folks, welcome to the channel. My name is Rob with Lilbot Dyes. Today we're going to do a video on mixing and the color wheel. I've been getting a lot of requests for doing a video on mixing. So the first bit of this video is going to be just mixing Floetrol, how I mix my Floetrol and Dye together. And the second half of the video is going to be making a color wheel. I recently bought a whole bunch of red, yellow, and blue dye, and I haven't put all that in a color wheel on a disc yet. And I'll show you guys how to do that and what the usefulness of that is. So let's get started. Alright, so recently I got myself a pound of Flame Scarlet, a pound of Neon Lemon Zest, and a pound of Sonic Blue. The goal today is to mix up 32 ounces of each of those, put them in a squeeze bottle, and then we're going to use those to make a color wheel and put that on a disc so I know exactly what each mixture comes out to, and we're going to put it on this plain white disc. This is a Streamline Lift. And it's just a plain white disc so that I know exactly what each color looks like for the future when I decide to mix some dye together. We'll start with the Prochemical and Dye safety sheet and their mixing recipe. I'm going to link to this in the description of the video. For Floetrol beds, they say use a ½ teaspoon of dye, 1 teaspoon of hot water, and 4 ounces of Floetrol. That's their recommended recipe. We're going to be using 32 ounces, so we'll just do some math here. We need 8 times as much of everything, so we'll need 4 teaspoons of dye, 8 teaspoons of hot water for our 32 ounces of Floetrol. 8 teaspoons of hot water is about 1 1/3 ounces. So I'm just going to measure that out in my dish here. It's not going to be exact, and it doesn't really have to be. And that's boiling hot water. It's going in the bottom there. Now I'm going to take 4 teaspoons of Flame Scarlet and put it in there. I want to be precise with the measurements for the dye, at least 3, because then I know my color wheel will be accurate for later when I'm trying to match those colors on a different disc. So we've got that, and then I'm just going to shake it up a little bit. Honestly, it looks like probably not enough water. I don't know if you can see that all that easy, but there's a bunch of clumps in the bottom there. So I might add a little bit more water, but I will just swirl this around a little more. The goal here is to end up with no clumps and just a, hot water with dye in it, and that way it will mix with the Floetrol really easily when you pour it in. And it's not perfect, but it looks like it's mostly dissolved in there, I think. So at this point, I'm going to take my Floetrol, and the nice thing about these, I'm going to shake it up first, just to mix it. The nice thing about these bottles is it has measurements on the side. So I'm just going to pour this in probably halfway. That's a little more than 16 ounces. And then I'm going to seal the top and start mixing this. and I mix it just by shaking it. And that's fairly well mixed already. The shake mixes it pretty quickly. And now I'll just top it up to the 32 ounces and finish mixing like that. So that's my red. Just gonna shake that up a little more, get it all mixed in. And I'm gonna do the same thing for yellow, the Neon Lemon Zest, and the Sonic Blue. And once I'm done that, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I've got my yellow, red, and blue mixed up. Here's our color wheel. And the color wheel just says that if you mix two primary colors, you'll get whatever's in the middle. So if I mix red and yellow, I get orange. If I mix yellow and blue, I get green. If I mix blue and red, I get purple. And that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna put 8 ounces of blue and 8 ounces of red in this bottle, and it should give us a shade of purple. So, this is the nice thing about having marks with the volume on the side, as I can see. There's 8 ounces of blue. Oh, spilled a little bit. Now I'll take 8 ounces of red, top it up to 16. And this should give us a fairly rich purple. Both of these colors are somewhat on the darker shade. So now that I've done that, I'm going to seal the top and shake it up, mix it, and label it. And I'm going to do that for each color combination. So I'll do that with red and yellow to get orange, and I'll do that with blue and yellow to get green. As soon as I'm done that, we'll move on to the next step. So now I have my secondary colors. I've got my orange, which is 50-50 Flame Scarlet and Neon Lemon Zest. I've got my green, which is 50-50 Neon Lemon Zest and Sonic Blue. And I have my purple, which is 50-50 Sonic Blue and 50% Flame Scarlet. So, what I'm gonna do now is make the intermediate colors. So if you mix yellow and orange, you get yellow-orange. Similarly with green and yellow, you get yellow-green. And we'll just go all the way around this color wheel here, making the 6 intermediate colors there. Once that's done, we'll move on and we'll start putting it in the dish here. The plan is to put this dish over the top and then fill in each quadrant with the mixes that we have, and then we'll put a disc in there. So for our first color here, I'm going to do yellow-green. So I'm going to take 4 ounces of the green that we have, fill that to the line. It's right to the line. And so that was the green, and we'll add the yellow. Go back to my yellow here. Okay. And so that's going to be a mix that is 3/4 yellow and 1/4 Sonic Blue, and that'll be a yellowish green. One thing I'll mention here while I'm mixing away is you may have noticed the color wheel doesn't have brown on it. The way you get brown is by mixing any 2 secondary colors. So if you mix orange and green together, you'll get brown. If you mix purple with either of those, you'll get brown. And the same for opposing colors with the secondary color. So if I mix blue, which is a primary, with orange, I'll probably get brown. If I mix yellow and purple, I'll get brown. If I mix red and green, I'll get brown. So if you're trying to avoid brown, avoid putting those colors next to each other. So I started with 32 ounces of red, yellow, and blue, and now I have 8 ounces of every one of these colors just through the mixing process here. I'm going to put it in each quadrant in each dish. Hopefully I don't screw this up. So if I start at red and work my way around, I should get to where I'm going. Here I go, just dropping a little of each color in each space. This is my first time doing this, and I'm definitely open to suggestions. Leave me a comment if you can think of a better way to do this. But overall, I think it turned out okay. I think I would stick with what I'm doing now in the future and start with the edges and just squirt along the edge rather than making trails into the center. But the most important thing is just to keep the colors separated. The whole reason for doing this is just to see what mixing different colors together produces. And so long as they're separated well, it meets those criteria. This is pretty basic stuff you learn when mixing colors of paint. The difference here is that when you're doing dye for a disc, you actually have to dye a disc with it to see what the results will be on the plastic, because what you see in the dye mixed with Floetrol is not always going to be the result on the disc. We're back with the result. Here's the color swatch. Turned out pretty sweet. It's not particularly artistic, but it does the job. It's going to tell me exactly what ratio of colors of dye I need to mix to get any of these results on the disc. That's really useful information in the future. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more tutorials like this, sell tutorials, all types of stuff, hit the subscribe button. I got more content coming at you, hopefully every week. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. I love to read comments and answer questions. Yeah, hope to see you all back here next time. Until then, happy dyeing. See you later.